So let us start. So I'll start with the orientation and the preparation strategy of the GATE examination, right? So here actually, let me introduce myself. So GATE exam strategy. So either it may be for ECE or it may be for EEE. The strategy is more or less same, right? So myself Venkanna. So I was actually 2003 one of the topper with 99.5 percentile. So in 2004 actually for the first time actually I wrote the exam immediately after the completion of BTech from NIT Warangal. So there actually I got around 99.5 percentile and with All India 100 rank. And then actually then later actually I joined in one of the prestigious organization in Bangalore, and then I wrote the GATE exam again without having any preparation. After 1 year, I could able to score again with a percentile of 99.1 with 189 rank All India. Now again, actually, I wrote the exam last year. After a gap of almost like actually in 2018, if I write, right? So 2018, actually, I have written without having any preparation with a gap, if you notice, actually almost 14 years back, 14 years gap. Again, actually, I scored 60 marks out of 100 just for testing my knowledge. After 14 years, I appeared the exam without having any preparation. But still, actually, I could able to qualify, and then actually I got around 60 marks out of 100, which is actually far, far more than many of the people. Now, the point is actually, GATE examination is one of the most simplest exam provided if you understand the concept. GATE exam is one of the toughest exam provided if you don't understand the concept. That is as simple as that. So if you understand the concept, then actually it doesn't matter after how many years actually you write the examination. But if you don't understand the exam, whatever may be the sleepless nights you spend, but still you will not be able to qualify at least. Qualification marks is only 45 marks. So getting 45 marks also actually, it is very, very tough in the case of GATE examination, provided if you don't understand the concept. But is it really tough to get the score? Obviously, actually, based on my knowledge and based on the experience, whatever I had, even if I write the examination even today, directly if I go and write the examination, I am sure that I will cross more than 50 marks, or at least actually more than 60 marks I will get it. Definitely even today, straight away if I go and write the examination. Why actually we can confidently say is, you have to be aware of the logic behind it. That logic is actually the method of preparation and the way you understand the concept, the way you apply the concept, these are all matters. But essentially, very low level of knowledge is sufficient enough to crack the GATE examination. And that actually I could able to practically know. So I myself actually wrote the examination, and then I realized that this is how it is going to be. Now, what is that preparation strategy that you have to be aware? The preparation strategy is actually many people feel that, especially many of the coaching institutes, I did notice that they give very, very low priority to engineering mathematics, which is a blunder. So based on my experience, that is completely a blunder, which makes you not to get the rank at all. So that is the greatest blunder that you have to avoid. That is the primary thing that you need to do. So that is engineering mathematics. Actually, if you notice, first actually let us see what is the weightage of these particular topics. Now, whatever may be the engineering field it doesn't matter whatever may be the engineering field. Definitely you will be able to score 50 marks if you know only mathematics. If you don't know the mathematics, you don't even qualify the exam. So that is as simple as that. Now, what is this mathematics altogether? Why actually it is playing very key role whenever actually you are writing the GATE examination or any other competitive examination like a public sector examination or like a DRDO examination, or actually you may be writing engineering service examination. Everywhere actually this mathematics directly and indirectly plays a critical role. So GATE examination actually, if you notice, so 15 marks actually it is coming for the aptitude, right? So this is actually more or less actually elementary mathematics. Elementary mathematics, aptitude, and then so there is actually to some extent English also is covered in this. And another important aspect is so engineering mathematics. Now earlier actually this engineering mathematics actually which was not a subject of the GATE examination, but now actually they made it as mandatory just because of the same reason actually whatever I stated. Without knowing engineering mathematics, you will not be able to read engineering at all. So this is the primary thing that you have to be aware, right? That you have to be aware. And here actually engineering mathematics actually itself will play a role for the 15 marks, and indirectly it plays the role for at least 30 marks for engineering subjects. That means if you simply know engineering mathematics, you will be able to score 30 marks only from the engineering subjects, because engineering is nothing but 20% physics and 80% mathematics. So that is as simple as that. We can define any engineering field. So any engineering field, you can consider this as 20% physics and 80% mathematics. These two together actually will come up with an engineering field. Now let us say at 10th class level actually you might have noticed that we will be studying basic electricity in physics. Basic electricity, there itself actually we will get to know the Kirchhoff's voltage law, Kirchhoff's current law, and then actually the related principles actually we will be learning at 10th class level itself, and then actually we will be adding mathematics for that, and then actually you will be coming up with EEE. And at 10th class level itself actually we got introduced to something called basic electronics. So especially the diodes were introduced there itself, and at intermediate level actually if you notice that along with the diodes actually most of the physics part of this electronics got introduced at +2 level. So if you notice intermediate second year physics, it contains more than 60% of the syllabus is specifically for the electrical and electronic subjects. That is the basic electricity, and Kirchhoff's laws is going to be covered there. At the same time actually electrostatic fields was covered there itself, and the alternating current itself is covered at +2 standard itself. All such kind of things that we will be studying. Along with that, the engineering mathematics is going to be added for that, and then actually you will be getting one more engineering field called ECE, right? So basic electrical parts, and then actually you will be adding mathematics for it, and then actually you are going to get EEE and ECE are the subjects. And again actually at first year intermediate, if you notice there actually we will be studying something called thermodynamics, and this thermodynamics, which is a physics part plus mathematics, is added, and then actually you will be getting the mechanical engineering. Again at +2 standard itself actually the strength of materials, or actually the basic properties of the materials that you will be studying as part of first year physics itself. There actually properties of the material plus mathematics if you consider it, then actually you will be arriving at civil engineering. Now if you exclude engineering, then actually you are not studying engineering at all. So if you exclude mathematics, that is as simple as that. So if you exclude, then actually obviously you are done for that. That means if you don't know the engineering mathematics, then actually you don't even try to attempt GATE at all. So that is as simple as that. Why we have to be that way is this mathematics actually directly from the aptitude point of view and engineering mathematics point of view, it is contributing for around 30 marks. And indirectly from the engineering subjects as a basics, if it is forming as 30 marks, total 60 marks is coming only from the mathematics itself out of 100. Then see the weightage of all subjects versus mathematics. Mathematics actually it is at least 50 marks it will be contributing. That's why actually I challenge that whatever may be the engineering field it is, if you are very good at engineering mathematics, you write mechanical engineering or the civil engineering or the electronics engineering or the computer science engineering or the electrical engineering, you will be able to qualify the GATE just if you know the mathematics. That is very simple. And this is exactly the reason actually why I could able to score well wherever actually I write the GATE examination, or whenever I write the GATE examination, I am able to score everything like that. Now we'll see this. So whether it is really true or not, actually let us see. Now actually as we are from the electrical and electronics or the electronics and communication background, it doesn't make any difference between these two streams, because actually almost 90% of the syllabus is one and the same. Only few things that are different. I'll just actually list down the subjects, whatever are there as part of EEE and ECE. So if you consider EEE here and ECE here, so basic subject, so engineering mathematics is there. And even here also engineering mathematics is there with the same syllabus. No difference at all. And the second subject, immediately it comes out to be the networks. And even here also we do have the networks. Right? And the very next subject, actually the basic physics part of entire electrical and electronics engineering lies with one single subject called EMTL. So that is EMTL. And even here also we do have EMTL. But many people feel that in GATE actually we do have only EMF, electromagnetic fields, and EMTL meaning electromagnetic fields and transmission lines. For ECU people actually, so electromagnetic fields and transmission lines are there. But in GATE, only EMF is there, that is electromagnetic fields are there. But coming to the engineering service examination, you are going to get the transmission lines as well here. That means if you are aiming for both GATE and engineering service examinations, then you have to be definitely considering the transmission lines here itself. You cannot skip it. So if you plan for only GATE, then you can skip the transmission lines part. But if you plan for, right? So if you plan for both the examinations, then actually you cannot skip it. So this is one of the important subjects that you need to consider. And very next moment, actually you have to consider one more, that is the control systems. Equal weightage is there in both of these categories. So even here also we do have, there is something called control systems. And again, here actually analog electronics. So we have actually a specific subject called analog electronics in EEE. And the same thing actually it was divided into electronics devices and circuits, and one more subject. So this is actually devices is separate, and actual circuits actually this is actually analog circuits. So here actually both are divided into two subjects, but in EEE actually we will be studying both together. But essentially whatever we are going to study as part of electronics, without losing anything, actually we will be studying everything here as a single subject. So that means actually both are exactly 100% more or less the same syllabus, no difference at all. That means these are all the common subjects. And the next one is the digital circuits. Even we do have actually digital circuits. Here, right? Now, the next one is actually the microprocessor and microcontrollers. So microprocessors. And we do have actual microprocessors here as well. So we do have only 8086. So 8086 even here also. And the next subject is, so once we are done with all these subjects, measurements and instrumentation. Right? So sometimes actually it is included here, sometimes it is not included, but still actually I do suggest to study this measurements and instrumentation. But the weightage of this particular subject is a little bit lesser even in EEE or ECE. But for engineering people, actually whoever is coming from the instrumentation background, for them actually it is a mandatory subject, and a little bit depth of knowledge needs to be there for this measurements and instrumentation. So this also actually it will be good to study whether it is listed in the syllabus or not, because actually the more or less the same concept of whatever we learn as part of networks is going to be analyzed even here as well. And then one more subject, that is the power systems, which are exclusively only for the EEE. We do have power systems So power systems is there only for the EEE people, and there is nothing like power systems for the ECE people. That is one important aspect. And another important aspect is electrical machines. So electrical machines is there for only for EEE, but for ECE it's not there. And the power system protection, it is there only for the EEE people, and it is not there for the ECE people. And there is one more subject called the power electronics, which is there only for the EEE people, and but it is not there for the ECE people. And these are all the extra subjects. That means actually the burden is more on EEE people when compared to the ECE people. That you have to keep it in mind. So these subjects are actually exclusively for EEE, but the syllabus of each and every subject is more when compared to all other subjects. So these are actually the subject that needs to be focused for the EEE people. And the ECE people actually, they do have the subjects like analog communication, digital communication, right? So these are all the subjects actually that are there as part of this ECE people alone. But let me check it if I am missing anything. Just a minute. Yeah, so one subject actually I missed out, but actually it is there for both of these people, that is signals and systems. And even it is there here, signals and systems. Right? Signals and systems is there for both of the people. So to summarize this particular aspect, if you notice, the syllabus is more for the EEE people and less for the ECE people, which essentially means that it is very easy to get the score in the case of ECE when compared to the EEE people. Now, coming back to the preparation methodology, so each and every subject is actually more or less related to the mathematics itself. Let me show you how it is going to be. So now, if you take one particular subject, I'll just relate actually how we can make use of the mathematics. In mathematics, actually, we'll be studying the syllabus. Actually, I'll be listing it here. One is linear algebra. The second one is the complex analysis. And we'll be studying vector calculus. And we'll be studying the Fourier series and Fourier transforms. Fourier series, Fourier transforms, Z transforms, Laplace transforms. Now, if you notice, actually, all these are actually comes under the single category called the transform theory. Right? Transform theory. Now, if you try to compare these particular subjects along with our engineering subjects, whatever I listed there, there actually, suppose if you take control systems actually, you will be able to understand only if you know very well, or actually to a greater extent, if you are actually very knowledgeable enough with this Laplace transforms. So if you know this Laplace transforms, then actually you are there for that particular topic. That means actually control systems is a cakewalk if you understand the Laplace transforms. This is very much essential. That means if you know the Laplace transforms, you don't need to study control systems at all, because everything is just the applications of the Laplace transform. Along with, there is something called the complex analysis also has to be part of this control systems. That is, we'll be identifying the poles and the zeros as part of the control system transfer functions. That transfer functions, actually, we do have the zeros and the poles, and the importance of the zeros and poles are there only you will be able to understand the complex analysis. If you understand the complex analysis, then only you will be able to talk about the poles and zeros importance and double order poles and the importance in the time domain analysis and the importance in the frequency domain analysis. Everything you will get to know if you know this complex analysis and this Laplace transforms to a greater extent. Because in the Laplace transforms, we will be introducing S, but that S is a complex number. So that complex analysis, actually, it will be included automatically. And there is one toughest topic in control systems. There is something called the Nyquist criterion. That Nyquist criterion, actually, even based on my personal experience, actually, I spent a lot of time reading control system books, maybe whether it is Wagata or Ku or actually Nagarath and Gopal. Every book, actually, I tried reading only to understand the Nyquist criterion, but still, actually, I'm not able to understand. Because the explanation there it was given is directly the applications from the complex analysis. But why, actually, it is just applied. But why it is that way, that reason was not explained in any of the control systems textbook at all. Now, actually, later I realized that actually, why don't we look at the complex analysis from the BS Gravel? Then there I got the answer for completely why the Nyquist criterion was decided in that way. So, Nyquist criterion from control systems, I am able to understand if I study BS Gravel complex analysis, not from any of the control system books. So that actually, this is based on my experience. I personally noticed that. Then actually, I felt very comfortable with that particular topic because that is one of the easiest topic provided if you understand the complex analysis. If you don't understand the complex analysis and then whatever may be the number of years you spend only to understand that control system, then still actually you will not be able to understand at all. So that is for sure. You will not be able to understand if you don't understand the complex analysis and still you try to read it. Many people will do that mistake. So my way of preparation is actually I don't even touch that complex analysis. I don't even touch that control systems. Before that, actually, I will try to do the complex analysis and Laplace transform. Then only I go there. Then actually it will be very easy for me to understand. If I spend almost like 1 or 2 days, that is sufficient enough to understand entire control systems. So that is why actually you try to spend more time on this complex analysis and the Laplace transforms before understanding this control system. This is one of the important things that you need to be understood. Then the second important aspect is, suppose actually if you take networks. Networks also, it is exactly the same requirement actually what we need, because the J notation in the AC analysis is coming from the fact that actually it is a complex number. So why we are introducing a J notation in the controls in the AC analysis, that you have to be understanding based on this complex numbers theory. And then actually the Laplace transforms, whatever it is there. So these Laplace transforms actually are applied even in the network analysis, because the Laplace transform has the power that any differential equation can be easily converted in terms of the linear equations or in terms of the polynomial equation with the help of the Laplace transform. So that is the greatest tool which converts a differential equation into a polynomial equation. And once we are done with the polynomial equation, that S is a complex number. Hence again, whatever the analysis we do in the case of the control system, the same thing is applied even for the network analysis as well. That means it is a must to understand again the Laplace transforms and the complex analysis even to understand this network analysis. And then actually we have something called, there is something called one more topic called the vectors, basic vectors. We have actually vector calculus, along with that vectors is there, and along with that actually from the calculus you have to be pretty clear with the ordinary differential equations, not the partial differential equations, only the ordinary differential equations. This itself cover, this ordinary differential equation will cover almost 70% of this engineering fields, just this ordinary differential equations. Why? Because I'll just give you a reason. See this, why it is that way is, now whenever we are talking about any engineering problem, we always actually speak with certain words. Those words are actually, if you notice, try to frame any engineering problem, whether it may be a civil engineering problem or a control system, whether it is a civil engineering problem or a mechanical engineering problem or a computer science engineering problem or a ECE problem or a EEE problem, you will be framing the problem statement with a certain words. Those words involves moving, changing, oscillating, time varying, right? So these are the words actually These are a must words whenever we are forming an engineering problem. But as engineers, actually, we are the engineers, actually, will be solving the physical problems, where that physical problems always involve some kind of changes or the movements or the oscillations. Now, if you are forming a problem statement with this kind of words, when you wanted to analyze mathematically, the mathematical model of all these words will lead to mathematical model of all these words will lead to a differential equation. So that means any engineering problem actually has to be dealt with only these words, and all these problems are actually dealt in mathematical domain only with the differential equations, because the mathematical model actually always leads to the differential equation. And then actually solving the differential equation is the only part you are going to do to solve that particular physical problem. That means solving the differential equations is the greatest knowledge that is required to solve any particular engineering problem. So if you are able to solve the differential equation, then actually you can master the engineering. So that is as simple as that. Now, these differential equations are actually everywhere you will be looking at, obviously, right? Suppose if you take a simple RL circuit, if you take it, and in this RL circuit, actually, if you wanted to calculate the current, then actually the voltage drop across any inductor is always equal to or proportional to the rate of change of the current. That is, di by dt is proportional to the voltage across this particular inductor. That means VL is equal to L into di by dt, and this is the voltage drop across this inductor. See this rate of change of, if you notice, changing, that word is there. As the change is there, then actually obviously you can expect a derivative over there. Now see this, if you are applying a voltage of V here, and then actually let us say this V is actually Vm sin omega t, then this equation is I into R plus L into di by dt is equal to Vm sin omega t based on the Kirchhoff's voltage law. See this is a differential equation. So if you want to solve a circuit, you need a differential equation. If you want to mathematically model in a rotating object, you need a differential equation in control systems, right? If you wanted to solve a wave equation, that is again a differential equation in EMTL, right? So for that matter, any engineering problem has to be dealt with only the differential equations, and that you need to understand as a primary criteria. That means without studying this ordinary differential equation, you cannot start you cannot start any engineering at all. So that is one more thing that you need to understand. And then the next aspect is the greatest tool that was invented by an electrical engineering in mathematics is the Laplace transforms. What is this Laplace transforms? Laplace transforms actually, it converts a differential equation into a polynomial equation. That means, suppose actually if I have this differential equation, so wherever this L di by dt is there, di by dt can always be represented with S. So this can be represented with SL, and this can be represented with I, and R plus SL is equal to Vm sin omega t, Vm, and the Laplace transform of sin omega t is omega by S square plus omega square, and this is what is going to be I of S, and this is the conversion of the Laplace transform. If you notice, this differential equation is converted in terms of R plus SL. D by dt is replaced with simply S. That means there is no derivative at all. Derivative is replaced with S. So S is a single variable for us. But d by dt involves multiple aspects. That is, the changes needs to be studied there. Here changes no need to be studied. That means you are converting a differential equation into a polynomial equation of S. And this conversion actually, with polynomial actually, you can easily play around to solve any particular equation, because we are much more comfortable with the linear equations or the polynomial equations when compared to the differential equations. The complexity is reduced to a greater extent. Hence, again, Our goal is to study the differential equation. Our goal is to solve the differential equation, but we are using the tool of Laplace transforms to study the same thing and to solve the same thing. So that's exactly the reason the complex so that's exactly the reason the calculus part of ordinary differential equations is very much essential, or at least actually it forms the 80% role of mathematics in the case of engineering. That differential equation we will be able to easily solve it with the help of the Laplace transforms. So that's why actually this is one of the greatest tool we can call as far as the engineering is concerned. So this Laplace transforms is very much essential to understand. Now go back. Now see this, actually we have got the understanding why these ordinary differential equations are important and why the Laplace transforms are important. And this Z transforms and the Fourier transforms, this Z transforms and the Laplace transforms and the Fourier transforms, these are very much essential. Essentially studying only these transforms itself, we say separate subject called signals and systems. So in mathematics, actually a single topic called the transform theory, that itself we are studying for 1 year as the signals and systems. There is no difference at all. Same thing actually we are just studying. That means we are just repeating what we have studied as part of mathematics. So one subject is again directly covered over there. And I'll give you one more analogy. See this, we have actually, there is something called the Fourier series. So Fourier series actually is one of the greatest tool we can say. There are two such kind of tools for us. One is the Maclaurin series, another is the Fourier series. These two tools, it will give a lot of flexibility for our engineering analysis. Let me give you the example how it is going to give it. So we do have actually, there is something called Maclaurin series. And another is the Fourier series. These two, you give me any random function, I will convert everything in terms of the polynomial. That is what we state that. Give me a function, I will convert into a polynomial. Right? So that's what this Maclaurin series says. That means you give me any function. Let us say actually if I give e power x, then actually with the help of the Maclaurin series expansion, this e power x actually can be rewritten as 1 plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial plus x power 4 by 4 factorial plus dash 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 up to infinity. See this, on the right side, if you notice, these are only x and x powers only. Suppose actually if I take sin x, this sin x actually x minus x cube by 3 factorial plus x power 5 by 5 factorial minus dash 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 up to infinity. If you notice again on the right side, it is only the x and its powers. That means give me any random function, everything I will convert only in terms of x and the x powers, and that's what is the greatest tool given by this Maclaurin series. Why it is very greatest for us is, analyzing e power x as it is actually, it is very tough, and even to study also it is very tough. To analyze also it is very tough. Suppose actually simple case you talk about, suppose actually I wanted to give an application that actually you have the flexibility to do only addition, subtraction, multiplication and division with the help of the calculators. So with the help of the calculators actually you have the flexibility to do only addition, subtraction and multiplication. Then by using only those 4 operations, suppose if I ask you to calculate e power 5, then will you be able to calculate it? Because actually that e power 5 or e power 5 or e power 2.5, suppose if I give that e power 2.5 or 2.3 if I give it. So I am asking you to calculate e power 2.3 with the help of addition and the multiplication, division and the subtraction itself. So will you be able to do that? Obviously we cannot do it, because actually how can we consider 0.3? E square you can consider as e into e, so e square you are going to get it, but e power 0.3 you will not be able to get only with the help of these operations. There actually the internal algorithm which was used to design a calculator, it uses the Maclaurin series and it converts everything. So x is equal to 2.3. Now I know that 1 plus 2.3 plus 2.3 whole square by 2 factorial, 2.3 whole cube divided by 3 factorial. If I calculate it, more or less I will get this answer. That means I will be able to calculate those values with the help of this polynomial expansion. So that means without Maclaurin series, you cannot design a calculator. That is as simple as that. So this tool gives a conversion of any given function into the polynomial. So depending upon our accuracy, we may consider only the first term, or you may consider the second term, or you may consider the third term, depending upon your accuracy requirement. So higher order terms actually will be neglected, and then actually still you will be able to arrive at more or less 99% accurate answer. So you are neglecting the higher order terms, but still actually you are able to get the higher order terms very easily, right? So that's why actually this is one of the greatest tool we can call, which converts everything into a polynomial. Because actually we are in our mathematics, actually we will study to a greater extent this polynomial function rather than any other function. Suppose this is e power x, anyway popular function. Suppose actually if I give you a function f of x, and this f of x is equal to x cube minus root x divided by sine x. Now actually I gave this particular function. Now actually I am asking you to draw this graph. Now actually it is very tough to draw the graph of it. Or actually this signal, if I give as an input to any of the control systems, then actually it is very tough to analyze. But suppose actually if I could able to express in terms of the polynomial like this, then I know already I am very much experienced with these polynomials. Hence actually if I could able to model as a powers of x alone without having any denominators like this, then actually you can easily draw the graph and you can easily analyze this particular function with the help of any control systems, right? So that means given this particular function, you will be able to express with the help of this Maclaurin series. This is one great tool. I'll give you one more great tool, that is the Fourier series. This Fourier series, what it will do is, you give me any function of your own interest, I will convert everything in terms of the sin x and cos x. So if you study very well the trigonometry, the sin x and cos x functions, you randomly give any function, if I convert into the sine and cosine, then actually it is very easy for us to analyze, because actually we have very good experience in studying the signals and systems with the help of the sin x and cos x. So that means any function whatever is given, you will be able to make a polynomial and you will be able to make a sine and cosine functions, and then actually you will be analyzing in terms of the sine and cosine or the polynomials, so that actually your analysis will be quick and easier and accurate. Got it? So that's why actually these are the greatest tools in mathematics that are available to convert into the known formats. Now, hence actually you will have to study this Fourier series, and then actually another is actually Fourier series, and the Maclaurin series anyway forms the part of the calculus. So this calculus actually we will have to study anyway. This is part of GATE syllabus as well. So that actually we are going to be studying. And then the next one is actually this vector calculus. And this vector calculus, it forms the basis for the EMTL. And without knowing this vector calculus topic, you will not be able to understand this EMTL at all. And also, this vector calculus, before even starting, there has to be something called the coordinate systems that you have to be aware. Coordinate systems. And these coordinate systems actually you have to analyze to a greater extent. With the help of that, you will be understanding the vector calculus, and this vector calculus forms the basics for the EMTL. Once you understood very well, then the applications of this vector calculus itself we study as this EMTL. Other than that, there is nothing else. That means this vector calculus is very much important for us to understand this EMTL, or actually the application of this directly we study as the EMTL. And if you notice actually the Maxwell's equations, right? So all the 4 Maxwell's equations, those are the greatest inventions of this century. That is the 20th century. The greatest inventions are only the Maxwell's equations. Why? Because that changed the world, the way we analyze. That is, he introduced something called the wave theory, and the electromagnetic waves, how it is propagating, and what is the kind of wave equation we are going to get it, and the communication technology, whatever we are studying currently, and the optical fiber cables, whatever we are using now, everything is designed based on the principles derived by the Maxwell's equations. So that Maxwell's equations are purely mathematical analysis of the complex mathematical analysis of the vector calculus. Other than that, there is nothing else. That means entire transmission lines is just this vector calculus and its applications. And this vector calculus, the Maxwell's equations, all the 4 different Maxwell's equations are derived based on the basics that we are going to learn as part of this vector calculus. That means if you know this, then actually EMF is a cakewalk for you. And many people actually, you feel that actually it is one of the tough subjects. Ideally, it's not. Provided if you understand vector calculus. If you don't understand, then definitely it is very, very tough. Very, very tough. So you cannot even study that particular book at all if you don't understand this vector calculus. So these are all the basics that you have to be forming. Then actually, and that is the linear algebra. The role of the linear algebra is, especially for the EEE people, in the power system analysis. So in the power system analysis, actually we do study, there is something called the load flow analysis. That load flow analysis is purely based on the linear algebra and the Cramer's rule that we are going to learn as part of the linear algebra. Everything is going to be applied at this particular stage. So you have to be pretty much aware of this linear algebra so that you will be very much comfortable in the case of the power systems. This is another important aspect. And then the next one is one of the toughest subject many people feels that, but ideally actually I don't feel that is a tough subject. That is power electronics. Almost everybody says that this is the toughest subject, but I don't know the reason why it is so tough. Many people feel. I feel that actually people are actually not aware of this ordinary differential equation. That is why actually they feel that it is one of the tough subject, because the greatest level of application of this ordinary differential equations are going to be used as part of this power electronics. Along with that, ordinary differential equations, you should be able to frame the graph of the equations if you know any of the equation. That means drawing the graph, you have to be pretty much clear given any particular equation. Suppose actually if I give sin x, you should be able to draw the graph of it. If I give the sin x minus alpha, again actually you should be able to draw the graph of it. And then actually ordinary differential equation, you should be able to solve it. So all the commutation circuits are, everything is based on, the waveforms are based on this particular equations. So these things actually you have to be very much clear. And then, so we have covered only with the help of the mathematics. We were doing this control systems, networks, EMTL, power systems, signals and systems, power electronics. See how many topics are covered only with mathematics. So if you are good at these subjects, you are good at these subjects. If you are not good at these subjects you don't need to study at all. Why? Because actually anyway you don't get any marks in GATE. So that is for sure. So that actually you have to keep it in mind. And then actually coming to the ECE specifically, there actually, especially in analog electronics, that analog electronics, so not analog, so analog communication, if you notice, there actually the communication process actually, it deals with some kind of the wave equations. That wave equations, to understand, you have to be aware of the wave propagation. And that wave propagation is again a solution of the second order differential equation. That also actually again, it forms as part of this ordinary differential equations itself. So keeping all these things in mind, give very high priority to mathematics. So this is one single statement. And especially study the domains of the mathematics and try to understand the intent of that subject and apply that intent into these particular subjects. Then it will be very easy for you. So with this, if you study with this basic knowledge, if you study these subjects, whether it is ECE or EEE, I am sure that you are going to cross at least 70 marks out of 100. So with only these subjects, with the help of this mathematical analysis. So then actually most of the things are covered here itself. And the other subjects actually analog electronics, digital electronics, and microprocessor. Now see this digital electronics, if you see, this is also actually purely mathematics. Especially actually when I teach for civil services in IAS examination, right? I teach mathematics there, but I do teach this complete digital electronics there because actually this is part of mathematics we are going to study. Now, what is there in this digital electronics is Boolean algebra, and another is the binary number system. That's it. So if you are aware of the binary number system and if you know the rules of the Boolean algebra, then actually this entire subject is a very simple subject. So these two are the only two essential components from mathematics we will be learning. So if you wanted to understand this binary number system, you have to be aware of, first of all, what is a number system at all. So it starts from there. So how to derive a number system? Based on that question, if you are able to answer it, then you will be able to understand what is a binary number system, how we are doing the operations of the binary numbers, whether it is addition or subtraction or multiplication, and why do we need to do only in such a way. Such kind of questions are actually going to be answered if you know what is a number system. So this actually we are going to be dealing in a greater depth, and with that actually we'll be adding the additional functions for the binary numbers. That is, we are introducing the Boolean algebra. So there is something called algebra. That algebra, if you notice, we do learn algebra at multiple stages. At elementary standard, maybe actually at 5th class level or 4th class level itself, we will be introduced to, there is something called addition, subtraction, multiplication, and divisions. Those are the fundamental algebra what we are going to learn. Now at +2 level actually, or at intermediate level, we realize that algebra is specifically to only for the scalars, and it won't fit for the vectors. Hence actually there is a need to redefine the algebra again only for the vectors. Hence actually we define there is something called the vector algebra, we separately learn it. There again we redefine the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Hence actually that algebra is completely different. Exactly in the similar manner, whatever we learn as part of this basic algebra, some of the principles of the basic properties of algebra will not fit in the case of binary numbers. Hence actually we have to redefine that algebra again only in the context of the binary numbers, and hence actually we have redefined the algebra again as Boolean algebra. So this actually we are going to be studying why we have to redefine, and then actually after the redefinition, then how we are going to do the operations, what are the basic properties of algebra, everything we are going to study as part of this Boolean algebra. So with this actually we'll be doing this. Digital electronics is a cakewalk. This is one of the easiest subject I can say. So that is going to be there. And only the physics part of the circuit analysis, hardcore circuit analysis is there only in the case of analog electronics and analog circuits. So devices and circuits and this analog circuits. So these parts actually, that is EDC and the analog circuits, these are actually purely the analytical functions. So that means not of much of mathematics that is involved only in these subjects, and rest of the subjects are actually, it involves a great level of mathematics. Even the microprocessor also actually, it won't need any of the mathematical knowledge. You will be able to solve, or you will be able to answer all the questions from the microprocessors and microcontrollers and these analog circuits, even without knowing any of the mathematics at all. So these are the subjects actually where the mathematics is not required at all, right? To some extent only it will be needed. Other than that, rest of the things you will be able to answer it. So if you target in this manner, then actually it will be easy for you to understand, and it will be very easy for you to score very good marks in the case of GATE examination, right? And then actually coming to the preparation methodology, many people feel that actually spending more time on the subject actually will give more marks, but it won't be that way. So you have to be smart enough to prepare. That smartness comes in this way. So actually the way I tackle these subjects is, suppose actually, let us say this is the base level, and then actually I spent this much of time only to study engineering mathematics. Then let us say in the second, actually if I start with networks, then actually I don't need to be studying to the greater extent. Rather than that, actually if I have this mathematical knowledge, then actually I will be knowing most of the aspect of the networks, and hence actually I'll be spending lesser time, but still actually I will be able to acquire 100% knowledge of this networks even with lesser effort than the first subject. So this is maths is done and the networks is done, and then actually if I study these two subjects together, and then actually if I start with the control systems, I don't need to spend more time on it, because actually most of the concept of these networks and the mathematics are going to be repeated here in the control systems again, and hence actually I don't need to be spending more time to study this particular subject. So hence actually with very less effort, then actually I could be able to solve it. And then actually if I study these three subjects, then actually next if I start with signals and systems, I don't even need to spend more time. So this is the control systems and this is the signals and systems. So here actually you'll be spending very lesser time, but still actually you'll be able to get 100% knowledge out of it. So spend lesser time and then try to acquire more knowledge based on the application of this particular knowledge to this. Many people actually makes the mistakes in this way. That is actually, they learn mathematics as a separate subject. So that is how actually, usually many people are actually almost 99% of the people other than the rankers. So rankers anyway knows this technique. Other than the rankers, actually what they do is, they study engineering mathematics separately, and they study control systems separately, they study networks separately, and they study signals and systems separately, and everything actually, these subjects actually what they do is actually they treat those as the ID, so independent subjects. No way it is related to any other subject. That is how actually they treat it. That is exactly the problem. So if you are spending more time on mathematics, especially almost many of the coaching are very well popular coaching institutes. Actually, I know that actually they don't spend more on this engineering mathematics. Rather than that, actually, so they spend on other subjects, which will be anyway loss for the students, right? So rather than that, actually, if you spend more time and then actually apply this knowledge on this, then actually you will be able to spend lesser time, still you are getting the more knowledge. Apply both the subjects knowledge, again actually you are going to spend lesser time, still actually you will be able to acquire more knowledge even with very less effort. Again actually apply these three subjects knowledge and then actually apply on the fourth subject, then you will be able to spend lesser time and then you will be able to acquire. Again the same thing you repeat it. Then actually at one stage actually you yourself will realize that, so without knowing much of or without putting much of the effort, if you open the book itself, actually most of the things are known to you, even without touching that book actually, everything more or less you feel that actually this is known, this is known, this is known when you read the book, right? Why? Because actually you have already studied the more or less the same concepts. These concepts are actually put in a different way in this particular subject. So hence actually, as I said earlier, 80% mathematics and the 20% physics, that principle you have to keep it in mind. That mathematics, whatever you are going to learn, try to apply everywhere, because in GATE examination, the knowledge what they are going to test is the application of the knowledge, not the pure knowledge. Pure knowledge is actually learning what, right? Pure knowledge is just learning, but actually just learning is not sufficient enough. If I use that knowledge on something, then that will be useful. So only application based questions only will be framed as part of the GATE examination. Many people actually will even feel that actually, is there a shortcut for this problem? I don't think there is a shortcut for any problem, or there is a shortcut for success, right? So you don't even need to worry about the shortcuts if you know the background or if you know the complete knowledge of that particular subject. And shortcuts actually, in fact, it will be of negative impact rather than a positive impact. Why? Because shortcuts are framed based on certain assumptions. But in the examination, whatever the problem they give, that may not satisfy the assumptions we made while deriving this shortcut. So if it fails, you will be tempted to apply the shortcut there and you will be arriving at a wrong answer. That our wrong answer is anyway there at that particular location. Hence, you will be ticking the wrong answer. That's why actually many people actually they guess that actually they will be getting around 85 marks, but outside when they come out, it's not even 30 marks. The reason being actually they are more well versed with the shortcuts rather than the basic knowledge. So I don't think actually it is a right choice to choose the shortcuts. Rather, actually, you try to understand the concept, apply the concept, and then actually try to derive then and there itself. So if you understand in that way, it won't be very tough at all to score well in the case of GATE examination. Now, as per the last point, like actually in this particular subjects, actually you can study so other subjects. So you have studied very well about the networks, the signals and systems. Then actually what you need to study as part of electronic devices and circuits, because the same circuits are repeated there. So everything is modeled into resistance networks, so resistance, inductors, and capacitors. Then everything is as if like it is a simple network for us rather than a diode or rather than a transistor. The transistor is modeled into a terms of the voltage source, current source, the resistance, and the inductance and the capacitance. So it is again the networks that you are going to analyze even in the case of EDC also. Though, so EDC you don't need to study extra, or actually you need to put much of the effort if you know already the networks and the signals and systems and the mathematics part. Right? The same is the case actually if you know the networks, again the communication or the analog communications is a cakewalk for you. And if you study digital electronics and then actually that digital electronics, again actually if you apply for digital communication, you don't need to spend much of the time, because actually the same concept of, if you know the data, you are going to study how the data is getting transmitted in digital format from one location to another location. Again, actually, you will be spending lesser time. See this, the graph is going to be of lesser effort and gaining 100% knowledge. So more or less, actually, you will be spending more time. So you'll be getting more knowledge with lesser time. So this is how actually you need to be preparing rather than preparing in this manner. So here actually non-ranker. Here the ranker is there. So ranker actually will be planning in this manner. Non-ranker will be planning in this manner. So if you do in this manner and then try to expect the rank, then it is a so cheating yourself. So you don't get the rank at all in this particular case. Here actually, if you notice, this methodology is a success methodology. Why? Because you yourself got acquainted in the method of the application of the knowledge. So you are trying to apply the knowledge and then actually try to put it on to the next one. This application of knowledge is the only thing that is going to be tested in the examination. That you yourself is adapting in the case of the preparation itself. Then obviously actually it is expected that in the examination also you will try to apply the knowledge and then actually try to solve it. So try to put it in this manner. And as the last point, actually, I will just show what is the examination pattern of this particular GATE exam. Whether it may be ECE or EEE, we do have actually the number of questions are actually 65 questions will be there. These 65 questions are actually 3 different categories: 1 mark questions, 2 marks questions. Again, actually in this 1 mark and 2 marks questions, so MCQs, multiple choice questions, are actually filling the blanks. Filling the blanks are actually signed integer. And the calculators are allowed in the examination. Now, first question number 1 to 5, these are actually 1 marks questions, right? 1 marks questions, and this involves the basic aptitude and English. And again, the same thing actually question number 6 to 10 also it will be. So these questions are actually the basic English and the basic aptitude that is going to be there. And these are actually, each question carries 1 mark and each question carries 2 marks. So total 5 questions, 5 marks. Total 5 questions, again 2 marks each. Then it is going to be a 15 marks total. So 10 plus 5 is 15 marks. Now, and the next questions, what you are going, so this is actually one particular section which is more or less common to all the engineering background people, whether it is ECE, EEE, computer science, mechanical, civil, or EIE, or whatever it may be. This aptitude and basic section is common for everyone. And coming to the core subjects, question number 1 to 25. So these questions actually, there are 25 different questions, each of 1 mark. So each of 1 mark, total actually you are going to get 25 marks out of it. It involves almost 20 questions are actually purely the multiple choice questions, and the 5 questions will be the filling the blanks in this. And again, 26 to 55. 26 to 55. So these questions are actually around 30 questions are there, and then actually 30. I think it's not matching, right? I think 50, yeah. So 50 actually it is going to be of, so again 2 marks each. So this is going to be of 50 marks. So 55 one. So 55 actually this is 2 marks each. So this is 30 into 2. These are 60 marks. 60 plus 25 plus 10 plus 5. So this is total 100 marks. So in this also we do have filling the blanks. Even in this also we have the filling the blanks and the MCQs. So usually like if there are 25 questions, then actually 5 questions will be filling the blanks, and then actually 25 questions are going to be of, so 25 questions are, so 20 questions are from the MCQs and 5 questions are filling the blanks. Yeah, whatever it may be. So that depends, like actually, so in each and every year, actually the paper pattern may change here and there, smaller level. So here actually, this section is common across, hence actually I treat it as a separate numbering system here. And this is actually 25. So this is first 25 questions, 1 to 25, it is of 25. And again, 26 to 55 is of total 30 questions. 30 into 2 is going to be of 60 marks. The numbering may be different. Like actually, so you can consider that from 35 to 65, or actually it may be considered as 1 to 25 and 26 to 55. It doesn't matter whatever may be the sense, but this is the examination pattern in total. If you notice, total we have 65 questions. In that 65 questions, from purely engineering, we have got 30 questions, each of 2 marks, and 25 questions, each of 1 mark. This includes engineering mathematics also. This is purely the general aptitude. This general aptitude includes English and the quantitative aptitude. So these two actually will consider to be the 15 marks, and this entire thing will be covering the rest of the marks, 85 marks. So in total actually, if you are good at mathematics itself, directly you can score this 15 marks, and engineering mathematics, it plays around a role of 15 marks here. At the same time, indirectly on the other subjects, it will play a role of 30 marks. So total actually 30 plus 15 plus 15, that is 60 marks you will be able to get if you are very good or excellent at mathematics itself. Got it? So this is the overall examination pattern that you can plan, whether it may be engineering, so ECE or EEE or the instrumentation, it doesn't matter. Got it? Right? So any questions? Okay. Yeah. So that's all for today. So in the next class, actually, we'll start with the actual classes. Yeah, that's all. So here at actually, we do provide these online classes at iesgate.com, and there actually in this, so we do provide certain aspects. So first thing is actually many people actually face one important problem. That is, somehow actually they came to engineering without even knowing much of the basic knowledge, especially from +2 standard also, not much of knowledge is actually there. At the same time also, actually, even in engineering also, you have not spent much time on understanding the basic concepts and the mathematics. So mathematics and even engineering basic concepts also, you are not aware of it. That's exactly the reason actually why you are facing difficulty in the GATE examination. Keeping that in mind, what I will do is actually, I will start from the scratch, saying that I assume that you don't know anything, you are starting from zero. And then from there actually, I will start impacting the knowledge, and that actually I will be building from the zero to a greater extent, assuming that you don't have any knowledge in engineering. There actually, I start with the foundation. This foundation actually, it is the basic requirement that has to be there from the earlier standard, maybe 10th class standard or the +2 standard. Actually, that kind of knowledge is expected, and that knowledge actually I'll give it first. So that is actually forming the foundation. And then actually the next important thing is actually, so engineering mathematics. Engineering mathematics, and then actually the networks, right? And then control systems. And this is the order actually I follow. First giving the foundation, then only actually I'll start with either it may be engineering mathematics or actually it may be a networks or a control systems. And these subjects actually I will go hand in hand. That is actually I will try to cover engineering mathematics and one of the engineering subjects together. By giving enough knowledge of this engineering mathematics, whatever is required, then only I will start this. So sometimes actually I will mix this with this particular extent, that is in the foundation, so that actually it won't be a hurdle to understand this network analysis or the control systems or the EMF, right? EMF. And then actually digital electronics. So these are all the primary topics actually I'm going to cover. After that, actually, we will actually go into the hardcore subjects of the electrical engineering or the electronics subjects, right? So because actually these are all the must subjects and these are all the common subjects. and each and every aspect has to be aware before even going to the hardcore subjects of our specific engineering, whether it may be ECE or it is EEE. So I myself will be covering the entire syllabus. No other faculty will be there. I will be taking each and every subject because I know the sequence of these steps. So I will be following exactly in the similar manner, so that actually you will be coming to a greater extent of the knowledge, so that it will be a cakewalk for you to score well in the case of GATE examination, right? So I will give whatever the knowledge I have exactly in the similar manner. I will try to make you up, and then actually I will try to make you a ranker. Got it? Yeah. So that's all. Yeah. Thank you.